On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, it's the crossover episode with Joey Erickson from Locked On Stars to get you guys ready for the first round matchup that everybody is looking forward to between the Colorado Avalanche and Dallas Stars. Lots to take in with this series. A little side note, we recorded this on Wednesday while Dallas was playing and losing to the Nashville Predators. So the news of Jason Robertson's injury didn't break until after we finished recording. So we don't even really talk about it because it didn't happen yet. Obviously, that is big. So another thing to add on to the list of everything that this series has to offer and something to look for on how long he's going to be out, if he is out. We still don't know yet, but it will definitely play a role. So just another thing to keep in mind on top of all of the stuff that you're about to hear in this crossover episode with Joey from Locked On Stars. Enjoy it.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alrighty, here we go. Welcome to the official series preview between the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche. I'm Joey Erickson of Locked On Stars, and that right there is Chris Micieli of Locked On Avalanche. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. How pumped up are you for some Stanley Cup playoff action this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said it that way. Just because, like, in general, like it's the best time of the year. Like for me, it's like NCAA basketball, and I don't really like basketball, but like the NCAA like first couple rounds are like awesome, and this is like that for me. So sure, like yeah, these two teams getting together is what everybody's looking forward to. But just as a whole, there is nothing better than playoff hockey. Like nothing better.
The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is usually fireworks. Unfortunately, sometimes it's rounds after that can be a bit of a snooze fest, but the first round is always great. And this is a matchup that we've really been anticipating since February, maybe even January. It just feels like these two teams were deadlocked together to meet at some point. And of course, they have some recent history. Last season, the Dallas Stars were able to take out Colorado in 6 games. There's some bad blood. And of course, we got the whole Mikko Rantanen storyline that we're going to get into. So maybe we just start there with some of the biggest storylines, because I think that probably is the biggest. Mikko Rantanen. I would love to just get your take. I hate for you to have to almost open this wound again, but the whole Mikko Rantanen saga and eventually him ending up on a big rival, and now he's going to go up head to head against McKinnon and Makar, a team he won a cup with a few years ago.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. I mean, it's weird anyway, just seeing him in Dallas Stars colors, but it was weird seeing him in Carolina Hurricane colors, So, but now, it's a whole nother dynamic to it, being in the playoffs. And man, like now it's 2 guys that you got to worry about sending you home that are former Avs, and Duchesne's done it already. And now it's like, okay, if you put the damper on him, you got Mikko Rantanen to worry about. But I think like for the Avs, like they've been asked about it. Like just in the last couple of days, they're being asked, like, even like Tori Lehkonen was asked, have you spoke to Mikko lately? Have you texted Mikko? And he gave a 1-word answer. No. And that was it. And he, like, I think they were expecting him to like expand on that, and he didn't. So I think the Avs are dialed in. They love Mikko Rantanen as a person, but he plays for an opposition. So they're not going to be niceties here. They want to win the game just as much as he does. So it is a whole nother ball game, and I'm really interested to see what Mikko does, because if he struggles, there's going to be an off season of just what's going on. Not that he's not going to work out in Dallas. I don't think that's going to be the topic of conversation. It's just going to be like, how much was he reliant on guys in Colorado? And I think that's a valid question at some point.
Yeah, he's going to hear about it. That's for sure. The great thing is Mikko's fit in very well in Dallas. And I've said this about him. I just think he's the type of player that can work in a lot of different places. I've heard the merchant comments about him and McKinnon, which I think is a bit of a load of crap when you watch him play. He's just too good of a player to say that. And of course, he was helped out by McKinnon. McKinnon is an all-world talent, but Mikko's special on his own. Can he maybe carry a team like Nathan McKinnon can? Probably not. But at the same time, how many of those type of players are out there that can really carry a team that are generational talents? So I think he's been a great fit, and I am curious to see how he fares, because it's going to just be a lot of emotions. And if he has an off series, I'm not going to be that shocked. It would be unfortunate for Dallas, and probably would mean they're leaving after the first round if he's having an off series. But it is going to be an emotional toll, I think, especially game 3 in Colorado. Now, Chris, I have so many concerns about the Dallas Stars. As we're recording this, Dallas is more than likely about to go into the Stanley Cup playoffs on a 7-game losing streak, just playing their worst hockey ever under Pete DeBoer. And there are some reasons for that. Of course, you have Miro Heiskanen, who's been out with an injury, and we're praying to God here in Dallas Stars land that he's going to come back at some point in this series. But Dallas is being heavily outshot consistently, being heavily outchanced. They're making really bad teams look really good. And I don't know if they're going to be able to flip that switch. Are they going to be able to turn it on when it matters, so to speak? Because it's still early April, so it's all fine. But when the games really start to mean something, are they going to be able to flip that switch? How is Colorado? I want to hear your opinion on how the Avs are playing heading into the Stanley Cup playoffs, because I think the Stars and Avs may be in polar opposites right now.
Well, first, I do want to, because it's very well known in Avalanche world, and maybe not so much in Dallas Stars land. The year that the Avalanche won the Stanley Cup in 2022, they went into the playoffs very much like Dallas is.
Okay.
They won. I think they lost 7 of 8.
Chris, thank you for this.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that out loud. But I think they lost 7 of 8 going into the playoffs. And then and the questions that I'm sure a lot of Dallas fans have right now are the same exact question that Avalanche fans had then. And look what they did. They went on one of the best runs in the last 25 years in the playoffs. Lost 4 games in that entire playoffs. It was crazy. But as far as how the Avalanche are playing now, it's weird, because the episode yesterday with Kyle, we were talking about how, the Avs, like they going into like these playoffs, they are well rested.
Yeah.
Because all season long we were complaining, how does Dallas have 2 and 3 games in hand on you the entirety of the season? And okay, but now, like, I'm okay with that, because you have guys that are rested for a week, and maybe for some of them more than that.
Yeah.
So it's tough to say how were they playing? They were playing fine.
Yeah.
They were playing fine. They how you were saying they over the course of the season, you said they were making, or Dallas has been making a bad team look good. That Avalanche could buy into that too. Chicago, for whatever reason, had your number this year. They could not beat the Chicago Blackhawks, worst team in the league, one of them. And so, but that's, how they're doing now. I would really say since the trade deadline, how have they been playing?
Yeah.
And they've been playing fine. They've been playing good hockey. They have some really good games. They have some games where you're like, there's some left to be desired in that game. They've had some lapses sometimes. That's a concern for me, where they have, one was against Dallas, where they had the game in hand, and then they gave up 2 goals in 30 seconds, and you end up, got to go to overtime to win the game. So good, bad, everything in between.
Yeah, I think that game against Colorado is just a wonderful summation of what the Stars have been the last month, because you see that third period, or at least that like 4-minute stretch, and we all know hockey games are 60 minutes, but you're like, well, they look like world beaters, right? And I guess every team's going to have some of those moments, and that's why I still hold out hope that, well, maybe they can show up, because they show those little spurts of just domination, and they look like their old selves. But it's been a trend now recently that's just not the case. And maybe Stars fans can hold out hope. How Colorado went into the Stanley Cup playoffs a few years ago. I brought up the Texas Rangers comparison. They went into their postseason run just absolutely terrible. They lost the division the last few days, and then they end up win a World Series. So sometimes teams just find it. So you really never know. And I guess that's the exciting part of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, I would love to hear about those acquisitions a bit more. Brock Nelson, Charlie Coyle, they went out and got some center icemen to be strong down the middle. How do you think they fit? Because Colorado, from a faraway view, looks like they've been retooling a bit. They've just been trying to find pieces to hold things together, and maybe it's starting to gel at the right time.
Yeah, well, so when they traded Mikko Rantanen, a couple of days later, GM Chris McFarland had a little bit of a press conference, and he said all the right things. Mikko's great, and this is the business and all that, whatever. And he made a comment, and he said flatly, "We're not deep enough." Yeah. So when we heard that, we were like, okay, they're going to be active here in the next weeks and leading up to the trade deadline. And they were, and he completely revamped this team from goal to right down the center. And they are a deeper team. Are they as deep as Dallas is in the forward line? I don't know, but Dallas is one of the best or deepest teams in the league. So that's a tough comparison, but they can, at least they can hang with a team like Dallas now, where if they didn't do any of those moves, you just have to pray that everything lines up perfectly for the Avs to beat a team like Dallas. Now, you like down the middle, like you have four lines of centers that are legit, and they're in their spot. They're where they're supposed to be. They're not asking someone that's usually a third line center, like, oh, maybe he's ready to take that jump up to a second line. Let's put him in there. That hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, and they've tried it, and it didn't. So they went out and got Brock Nelson, and that's his role. They went out and got Charlie Coyle. That's his role. Included with the Mikko Rantanen deal is Jack Drury. He is a fourth line center and flourishing in there. So all the moves, and even Ryan Lindgren that they added on the defensive end took him out of a position in New York where they were maybe misusing him, put him in a role where he's more comfortable, and he's kind of excelling in that role. So they just seem to have hit the right notes with the moves that they made and the positions that these guys play, and it's working. It is working.
Yeah, you mentioned roles, and that's huge. And that's one thing where Dallas has some players that are playing in roles that they're just not suited for right now. And that's really no fault to their own. They do have some injuries, and there are a lot of people out there that believe that Dallas should have gone out and gotten another defenseman at the trade deadline besides Cody Ceci. But I also don't think they were planning on Mikko Rantanen being available and that even being something that they could afford. Also, the price seemed pretty high at the deadline too for some defensemen. You're going to have to pay a price, and I don't know if Dallas was willing to go that way. So you look at guys and players like Labushkin and Matt Dumba, Cody Ceci. Those are three players that aren't really playing in roles that suit them, sort of heavy minutes, like top four roles, especially Ceci right now, are playing those high leverage situations that are just not good, and they're not going to be successful in those, but they just have to ask them to do that. And that's where I have a lot of concerns going up against this deeper Colorado team. And it'll be a really interesting chess match, because you can look at each group. I would say Colorado, of course, has the edge. I would say defensively, Stars depth-wise, maybe up front, yes. Goaltending, if Otter's on, if any goalie's on, you would give him the edge. But I think you'd say Dallas has that, but at least Colorado has gone out and done something about that.
At least they have goaltending. That's all I care about.
We didn't really have goaltending at the beginning of the year with Georgiev. So it's just this really interesting chess match to see how it all plays out. And, is your superstar's got to be your superstar sometimes in the playoffs. So we'll see. It's going to be a fascinating. And I think where I hold out some hope, and maybe this is a conversation for the end, but there's just always teams, like, you have to end somebody's season. That's really hard to do. And maybe Dallas is going in as a team that's kind of limping. They just want to be put out of their misery. But you look at, like, I think of a Vancouver team last year that was on like their third string goaltender. Even Colorado, for that matter, in the bubble when they played Dallas, they were down to like their third string goaltender, and they still forced a Game 7. Like sometimes teams just find a way, and that's what makes the playoffs exciting.
Absolutely. No, you never know. You never know. No. Kyle and I did our predictions, and it's just it's so difficult.
Yeah,
because you just don't know. And if a team, like you said, like if a goalie gets hot. Goalies are like Major League Baseball pitchers in the postseason. Like if a pitcher is on, it is tough to get hits off of them. If a goalie is on, they can win you the series. And so we'll see that. That's going to be a big part of the series too. Obviously, is goaltending. Always is.
Yes. Special teams, goaltending. It all matters.
All there.
Let's jump into some key players here. Some of the key players in this series. We've probably already touched on a few, but maybe there's some dark horses in there that we have to throw out there. So we'll do that in just a moment. Today's special crossover edition is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25. You got Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed. As easily as you stream your favorite shows, play some games. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, like Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. It is amazing what Amazon Fire TV can do for you. It's a great option to start playing your Xbox as well. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K, that's the second gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max, first and second gen, and Fire TV Cube, third gen. Special players, right, Chris? Special players. You got to have them. Your superstars. You got to have those role players, those bottom six guys. Got to have some bottom pair defensemen that just find a way to hang on sometimes, play some of those heavy matchups. So that's the PK power play. So some of the key players for the Colorado Avalanche. Who do you think in the lineup it could be a difference maker against the Stars this weekend?
Well, we've gone this long. We haven't talked about Gabe Landeskog.
Yes. That's another storyline.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, he's all of these. He's the storyline. He's a key player. He's an X factor. It's all this stuff. And we don't know yet when he's going to play. Could be game 1.
Yeah.
I heard something today where they might hold him out until game 3 for his first game back being in Denver, which is, I mean, even if he played game 1, game 3 is still going to be a bonkers arena.
Yes, it always is.
So, and he looks good. He looks good in practice. He's a full participant in practice right now. It's just a question of when they want to play him, and then what can he do? And that is just the big unknown, Joey. Yes. Like he played 2 games with the Colorado Eagles and made it through the 2 games. They were back to back, by the way. It was a Friday, Saturday, so he did that. But NHL is obviously another level. And in those games in Loveland in the AHL level, he played his style of game. He is a park in front of the net, and I'm going to get rebounds. I'm going to get tips. I'm going to mix it up. He went right back to that. And God, is that going to be big for the Avalanche, because he's a net front presence. Found that Chuskin's a net front presence, but it is a big unknown. But if he can produce and give, probably. I was saying, like, I would love to see him go right to the second line. I think that's asking a little bit too much. I think he's probably going to be slotted into the third line, and that is just fine. That's just fine to start. But if he can just, weird to say this for a guy who hasn't played in 3 years, pick up where he left off, that only makes his team obviously better. And there's the endorphin high that they're going to be on because he's in the game is not going to be able to be matched.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. Even if he doesn't come back and lights it up, it still is that moral boost, right?
Oh my God.
To have your captain back, right? To have your guys. So it'd be interesting. And look, I'll be the first to say it. I'm happy for him. I look forward to actually watching him play. Like he was an elite player. He's fun to watch. I just don't want him to be very good against the Stars, right?
I get it.
He can do it maybe in the next round if you guys get through.
Sure.
Or he can do it next season. So, but it will be really cool to monitor that situation, see when they want to work him in, and that sort of leads me to a guy in a similar place, but probably not as close to returning, and that's Miro Heiskanen. He's pretty much the key for Dallas, and I've said it a lot on Locked On Stars. He's the difference maker in Dallas winning this series or not. He's just so important, and you don't realize that until players like him are out. And there's a pretty steady decrease in the Stars' play and their overall numbers that pretty much directly correlates when number 4 went out of the lineup. It's just gone downhill in a lot of ways. And when you miss your best player, your overall best player, this is how teams look sometimes. No team is different, whether that would be McKinnon's out or McCarr. It's just a different team, and they're trying to fill his void with a lot of different bodies, but you just can't replace that type of talent on the back end because, number one, he's mobile and he's a skater. And Dallas doesn't have a lot of puck-moving defensemen on the back end. You're talking about guys that can bring a physical edge, which we hope will lend to some better playoff success rather than regular season. Game starts to tighten up. Maybe they'll be in some roles where they can thrive. But Colorado's a fast team. Colorado likes to play fast. They want to get out and run a bit. And that's where Dallas is really going to have some issues, especially without Miro. And he's not expected to be in game 1. That's pretty much out of the question.
Okay. Maybe
somewhere down in the series. But I don't know if he ever comes back. That's where I'm at. We're almost 3 months now away from like a major knee surgery. Like that'd be pretty quick for him to play games and play to a playoff level. Landeskog's had a bit longer of a runway up to this. This has been a long making. It would be a lot to ask out of Miro, but even a 70% Miro is better than 100% DC or Dumba. And that's no disrespect to those type of players, but
right.
He's just
that's
that
just
good.
How good he is.
So
right.
If he is back, I think it gives a lot of Stars fans hope, but it's a real possibility. This is just maybe some gamesmanship just to keep the Avs thinking, okay, he could come back. I think just to keep the locker room feeling, okay, he's going to come back. We'll be fine, right?
I asked that same question on our show, and I wanted to ask you that. Yeah. Because you're obviously more dialed into the Stars than I. Do they know? Do you feel like they know? And because this is what I said to Kyle, is just they can't come out right now and just be like, he's not going to be in the entire round 1. Just the morale just comes down. Yeah. So it's smart for them to say they'll go game by game. I feel like with this, I think they're just going to say he's not there for game 1. We know that. And then he's not going to be there for game 2. I just feel like, because then if he does come back, the boost I'm saying the Avalanche could get from Landeskog is similar for the Stars.
Yeah.
Do they know? Do you think they really know or no?
Yeah, I think they know either way at this point. Whether maybe he's ready for game 2. Seriously, maybe he could play in game 1 and they're just going to hold him out. I really think they probably seriously. I think they know either way. Obviously, teams are very tightly close to the vest right now, and I chatted with Sam Nessler of another Star show in the area, and he goes to practice, and he's very well within the Stars. He's on the beat for them and everything. Not for them, but he's really plugged in. And he was saying they've had the tarps up during practice for him. No one, they're keeping no one's seen him skate or whatever. So really, we have no idea. But I think they know either way. And as I said, he could very well be out, and they're just trying to keep the mood up. And I've also said I don't believe they should tax him. I don't believe they should put him in a situation where he can get hurt again if he's not fully healthy. It's not worth it. As much as I want the Stars to win a cup, we have years with Miro in this group right now that you have to worry about, and that's hard to contemplate. But it's something you really have to consider when you're talking about the player he is. In a lower body injury, his first major of his career and his strongest suit. You don't want to jeopardize anymore. And Landeskog have gotten into some of that, right? Where he's just got hurt again, and that's hard to come back from.
Crazy. Setbacks all the time.
Right?
Yep.
So it's a tough pill to swallow if you're a Stars fan. But
if they do, if he does come back and he re-injures himself and they move on, you screwed yourself for the rest of the playoffs. It's pretty simple.
Exactly. You know, I would probably say I'd rather let's say they win the first round series. Well, if Miro just don't have Miro playing the first round in general, and then if he's okay in that second, then you can bring him back.
Right.
You know, even Sam, just like you said, I would say maybe like a game 6 if they made it there. Maybe you could see him be put back in like a high leverage if they're down 3-2. If it's kind of a last desperation thing. So it'll be interesting to the whole Landeskog and Miro stuff. It's going to be popping out every day.
Yeah.
And we're going to get the morning tweets after morning skate and all that. And
absolutely.
It'll be energy boost to both sides, or some disappointment, depending on which side you lie.
Absolutely.
So,
there's a couple more guys that I wanted to mention for the Avs. One is, we're talking about Mikko and what he's got to do. What about the guy that they traded for when they got rid of Mikko and Marty Nashis?
Special player.
Has fit in very nicely with the Avs in the regular season. Has tailed off a little bit towards the end of the regular season. But his time in Carolina postseason hasn't been great. Hasn't been bad, but not up to like what his level should be. So what is his carryover into the playoffs in an Avalanche uniform? Really excited to see that. And then the last one I'll throw out to you on the defensive side, Sam Malinsky. Sam Malinsky has been a revelation this year for the Avs on the defensive end. He's a third pairing guy, but he's got a howitzer of a shot, and he can move the puck. Like, there are moments where you think that is Cale Makar moving the puck around. He's a great skater. He's great with the puck on his stick. He's you ever see those highlights of Cale Makar where he just breaks people's ankles and he just shifts. He's shifty. That's Sam Malinsky, but not tested in the playoffs. So doesn't have a lot of playoff experience. So that's a big question of like these guys that are have had good regular seasons for the Avs. Can that carry over in the postseason? Sometimes you just don't know until you get these games in. So those are two guys that I'm really going to be watching closely.
Well, I want to kick out there another third pair of defenseman like Malinsky, and I think you have some similar traits, but Liam Bichsel, the big Swiss defenseman who's really young, and he's going to be thrown into the fire. It looks like, and he has some special moments because he does bring something that the Stars just do not have, and that is a defensive with size that can also sort of move the puck. He's big. He's physical. I think his game may thrive in this postseason style because he throws big hits. He's not afraid to muck it up a bit. So I am really curious, but he's had his rookie moments. So he's 20 years old. So he's had some moments, and now he's going to be tested. So what is that going to look like in the postseason? I'm really, really curious to see what he looks like when crap hits the fan, so to speak. So he'll be very, very important. Also, I think Tyler Seguin, he got back in tonight.
Yeah.
As recording this, picked up an assist in the first 16 seconds. Looked pretty good. The rest of the Stars team went to hell after that, but Seguin seems to be okay, which is nice. And with him, Duchesne and Marchment, if you look at some of the numbers, like one of the best lines, if not the best in hockey. And if they can continue that into the postseason, rekindle some of that, Seguin will be fun. And he's been a point per game this year. It's just been 21 games, but he's been a point per game. So awesome. it'll be curious. It'll be curious to see. Oh, and Dutchy, by the way, is a point per game for the second time in his career, which is pretty crazy at his age. He's had a good season, which is remarkable.
Wow. Yeah, he's still producing, which Avalanche fans do not want to hear that, but you got to give the guy credit. He is.
I don't know if Dallas is going to be able to get him to re-sign next season for another $3 million. That's going to be an interesting offseason topic.
He's been a bargain for a couple of years, and you think it's going to be his last contract. I mean, how old is he now?
30. He'll be 35, I guess. Wow. He's 34 right now, but right. So, but for whatever reason, I guess the fountain of youth is kind of here in Dallas. We did it with Pav a bit, so
that's so true.
Yeah, Dutchy's drinking the good water, I guess. Which
we'll see.
I don't know if that's that good in Dallas, but anyways, alrighty. Our final segment here coming up. We got some X factors, maybe some stats you want to throw out there, Chris, for me. And of course, we got to give our official series predictions. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars and Locked On Avalanche special crossover edition is brought to you by Gametime. The Stanley Cup playoffs are here, and if you've never been to a live NHL playoff game, well, it is unlike anything else. The intensity, the speed, the energy in the building, it's next level. And thanks to Gametime, getting in the doors easier and more affordable than ever. Gametime is the fastest way to grab playoff tickets, even for those must-see matchups like Game 1, Game 3, Game 2, all of the games in this series, really. You got last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off as well. Last-minute deals. The all-in pricing shows the totals up front. You can see the view from your seat before you get it. Don't have to really worry about that at the AAC or Ball Arena, which I think it is, and maybe it's a different arena called now. But when I went there, I was in the nosebleeds. It was an awesome seat either way. I think both buildings are just fine. You're not going to have any issues with your seats. So get your tickets on Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. That's Locked On, LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You know, building names are changing so fast now. I feel like everything's up. I think the XL Energy Center now in Minnesota is up. So I've
is
read,
it really?
Which is unfortunate because it's always going to be known as the X to me, no matter what.
I
went to college in Minnesota. Center. Yeah, we're going to the X. Staples, right?
You can't do that
it's
stuff.
Like the crypto, whatever.
CryptoBro.com, I think it is.
Yeah. It's not good. That's all that matters. Right. But speaking of good, any numbers that you want to flash my way, or is there just some X factors? Maybe Colorado's just torching teams in this area of the game. I'm curious to hear your thoughts too. Maybe I'll kind of point this as a question too. But Colorado known for their offense, but they've been pretty well defensively here. Maybe sneaky, really good.
They've been better defensively this year. You know, they have their moments where they, we talked about those mental lapses where they've let teams back in. But overall, they've done sound defensively, and that's really this team is built for. We're going to be offensive juggernaut, and we have good defense and good goaltending, and that seems to work for them. So, and that's what they have this year. They have better than good goaltending in the duo that they have now. So, I mean, if Mackenzie Blackwood's not up to snuff, Scott Wedgwood has been fantastic this year in the backup role. I don't know how quick they pull the trigger if things are not going well for Blackwood, but it's the playoffs. You can't wait around too long. But I think they have all the faith in the world in Mackenzie Blackwood. So that's definitely, as far as player X factors go, I'll throw out another one. And I do have a couple stats that I want to mention. But you got to mention Val Nichushkin here. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And maybe it's a little bit unfair, but maybe some people think it is fair. He's missed the last two postseasons because he's been suspended.
Yeah.
So this is the time where the spotlight is going to be on him daily, because there's going to be people that feel like, am I going to wake up tomorrow morning and I'm going to hear another Val Nichushkin suspension? And I think it's a legit question to ask, but he seems to be stable. He seems to be in a good state of mind. And he's such an important factor to this team. So important in what he does. He's their best forechecker. He's just 200-foot player, does everything. Special teams. He's a big body. He just does everything that this team needs him to do. So him just being there and not being suspended is massive. For them. So
I mean that hurt them last season for sure. And then I think the Devontae's injury, I think he missed a game. It was just a gut punch, right? Everything sort of snowballed.
It was.
I mean, that I think it was a game 4. Colorado had no chance, unfortunately, in that one. It was just an awful night. I honestly felt bad. I was like, how could you go into the locker room and be ready to play when you just missed a guy who was lighting it up too in that postseason? So it's just tough.
I think it was 2 hours before the game.
Correct. Yeah,
it was quick. Tough. How are you going to win that game? It's impossible. So,
yes.
As far as more you want to call them X factors, whatever, but stats wise. There were 2 that I had here. One was rebound goals against. Mm-hmm. So for Colorado, they were 3rd worst in the league at 5-on-5. They gave up 29. Dallas was 6th worst in the league. They gave up 25.
Yeah.
So both of these teams are giving up rebounds at 5-on-5. And this goes back to what I was talking about with Gabe Landeskog of That's his game.
Yeah.
That's his game. That's Val Nichushkin's game. So if there's rebounds to be had, those two guys got to be Johnny on the spot and put some of these rebound goals. Because the Avs, if they don't have those two guys in the net front, it's really a non-factor for them. They try to mix it up and they're okay at net front, but getting Landeskog back, and if he can get back to his Landeskog ways, huge boost for them in rebounds. Huge.
I like that number too, because I think it really points out Dallas's lack of ability to defend that high danger area. Watching the game tonight, 2 Preds all alone, deflections, and they score a goal all alone, unmarked. That's where Dallas is really struggling, that area of the rink to defend. So it's a great number to throw out there.
The other one I got is penalty minutes taken per 60. And this is, again, for 5-on-5. Dallas is 28th at 6.84. So that's good,
actually. So thank you.
Colorado is 29th.
Okay.
At 6.67. So, but it's, this division.
So that means 20 power plays a night then, Chris, right?
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the total opposite. But that's what I was going to say. You don't know because these division rivals, playoffs, who knows what happens. But if it stays like this, who takes advantage of when you get a power play?
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, special teams are always huge, but if you're not getting a ton of them, you got to take advantage of it. Have to.
Yeah, huge. And if you can look at some of the numbers, right? Stars 22% on the power play, and Colorado's 24%. So pretty even there. 79% on the PK for Colorado. Dallas is 82%. They've been hovering around the best in the NHL for a large part of the season, but it's taken a big dip here during this downturn. So can they return to that form? Right. So that's a great point. Yeah. And of course, special teams is big, but it's those timely goals too. In some of those games that you have to be able to buckle down. You mentioned if penalties are going to be hard to come by, can you capitalize?
You have to, because you're not going to get many opportunities. And for the Avs penalty kill, it started off horrible. I think they were 30th for a long. Okay. So where they are now, I think they're somewhere in the middle, like 13, 14, if I'm not mistaken.
It's above average. They're around the league.
So where they have come from the beginning of the season till now, like, and you've seen some stats where if you start that stat at like January 1st or something like that,
correct.
Like they're like top 5. So I'm sticking with that. I'm going with that because the beginning of the season was just horrendous for them in the penalty kills. Terrible.
You could make the same point for the Stars power play. I think they're like top 5 now since it's January, February, because it was abysmal. I mean, every night it's just, and doing a show every day, it's just every night I'm bringing up power play struggle. Power play is underwhelming. It's like I have to create a segment after each game.
Avs are similar. Avs will go through a power play, just misfires and just doing nothing. So you can't have that. You cannot have that in the postseason. Yeah,
and the last couple of playoff runs, it's sort of been the Stars doing it. It's as much as the concerns I've always talked about the Stars defense, and that seems like the last really 3 years, can it hold up? Their demise has been their offense. It goes quiet. And their power play just doesn't seem to be able to work. And then all of a sudden they find themselves out. So they got to put that together. But I think this year it's safe to say it's going to be, can they hold on from being outshot consistently? And that would be the one number I'd bring up at 5-on-5. You can look at the expected goal differential number. That's always a popular one. Right. But Dallas is just being heavily outshot. Just everywhere, outchanced in those areas at 5-on-5, and we know Colorado be very, very good 5-on-5 team, and they can run amok. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to watching McKenna McCarr go like this in the offensive zone 3 times, and I'm just going to be praying for Otter. Come on, buddy, make a save here and there. He's going to have to be really, really damn good in this series, I would suspect. So maybe that leads us into some of our predictions. We'll love to hear your pick. Stars versus Avs. I think you said Avs in 7 last year, if I recall correctly. I think you immediately said this was going 7 games. Yeah, it feels like that could be the case. But I could even see it being 5. I really could. If Dallas plays the way they are right now, it's going to be over in a hurry.
Well, you say that. I could see the other way around. That's the crazy thing about this series. It could be Avs in 5, could be Stars in 5s, could be Avs in 7, Stars in 7. So, I mean, I hate doing this because it's always like, you're so I cheated a little bit. Like we on yesterday's episode, we Kyle and I threw out our predictions for this series. And if you've already listened to this, you know where I'm going with this. If you're a Stars fan, you probably don't. So I cheated a little bit and I played both sides of the coin.
Okay.
And how I did it was, I feel like it'll be one at home.
All right. Yeah.
So if it's Avs, I feel like it's going to be Avs in 6.
Yeah.
And if it goes 7, I think that's going to be an insanely difficult game for the Avs to win. And if it goes 7, it'll be Dallas in 7. So those are my I'm giving you 2 predictions. One for each team.
Well, yeah, and I'm sort of, you mentioned Stars at 7. That's sort of where I'm living, just because in order to win this year, they're going to have to get to 7. They're just going to have to. I think they're going to have to steal some games. They may get lucky. Maybe they get a call here that really helps them out. And also, like I said, if Miro does come back, watch out. Like maybe Dallas can buck up. I truly feel that way. That's how good he is. And I've said this way too much, but maybe. Obviously, you probably haven't heard this, but Miro's the one guy that can counteract Cale Makar to some degree, because true. I've said I think he outplayed him last season in that series, and that was a big reason why they won. That series. And he's the only person on the Stars that can do that. So if he can kind of match up with it, and he can play against McKinnon a bit, it's not always going to be perfect, but he's better than trotting out Dumba out there against McKinnon. so I think it really is a good point. If you have to sit the fence a bit, it's going to be one at home. And Stars have been really well. Pete DeBoer has been great in Game 7s. I think he's still undefeated. I think 8-0 now. So for whatever reason, but we also know third year Pete DeBoer, for some reason, everything seems to fizzle out.
Oh, is that a thing?
That's a thing in all the places he's been. But I do want to say this before we wrap up a bit. The Stars being at this point in the second seat is really remarkable. I think you can say that for Colorado being in third place too. The amount of injuries the Stars have dealt with, like they lost Marchment for a month. They lost Sagan for 57 games. They have lost Miro since January. They have had a real tough time. And they've had guys have slow start. And they've put together a 50-win season is really good. I know moral victories don't win anything, but I think you do have to give the props to some of the coaching stuff. And I think you can say the same for Colorado and what he's been through. At first, the first 2 months of the season, it was like an AHL lineup some nights for Colorado.
The running phrase in Colorado right now is the Avalanche played 49 guys this year and had 49 wins. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
That's a ton of players that you need to use. So we didn't bring up the coaching staff at all, and we probably should have at some point, because I know on the Avalanche side of things, they have done a masterful job this year getting this team to where they are right now.
Yeah, I would say the same about Dallas. I don't know if every Stars fan would agree with me there. Coaches can be sometimes a hot topic, like you can point some of the Star struggles on the coaching staff. I think they have to bear some of that. They are the coach, but like I said so many times, you miss your best player. Players make coaches sometimes. We know that, but they're also the first to be fired. That's just how it works. But
nature. What did I say? As soon as you get hired, you're counting the days till you get fired. Pretty much. So,
well, and DeBoer's going to be around another season. I don't think he has to worry about his job security. Yeah. Stars have been awesome, except for the last month under him. But who knows?
If he's been there for how many years and he's had one bad month,
yes,
you're doing okay. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the running thing was, the stat was Stars had not lost 3 games in regulation, three games in a row under his tenure until this last month.
Until now.
So it's been pretty good here in Stars land. We've been too spoiled, to say the least. So but it'll be a ton of fun. I think it's interesting going through this conversation and chatting with you, going back and forth. Stars and Avs, I feel like sort of have had a similar season in a lot of ways, and they've all gotten to this end in different circumstances, but 2 teams that are right in the thick of it. It's almost a shame one of them has to get out early, but it'll be fireworks here in this first round series, and a lot of fun. And like you said, it could just be a coin flop, and who's going to show up? So it'll be awesome, but looking forward to it. Give me your last final thought here. Just maybe the playoffs in general. It's an exciting time, and it's go time now. And this is where these teams wanted to be. Like, this is the real test now.
Well, I said to Kyle on our show that it has the feel of when you get to the playoffs and there's like, you have a matchup like this, and the talking point is whoever wins this is going to the finals.
Yeah.
It kind of feels that way. Like, sure, there's good teams in the West, but you just feel like if one of these teams can make it out of this series, they are going to be everything else that comes. Right. Everything else that comes after this is, I use the term loosely, a walk in the park.
Yeah.
But like this will be the test, and you got to feel confident of whoever comes out of this series. If it goes where it's supposed to go, should be marching towards the Stanley Cup.
Not a big fan of Winnipeg, I suppose, Chris. Yeah,
I will revert. I will revert to what we did to them last year, which is not what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to do that. But I think Winnipeg is in that. Until you do it, no one's going to buy into you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's unknowns, but
right.
Yeah. No, that's a great point.
I think they're going to have their hands full with St. Louis, though.
Well, every team hates the hottest team in the league coming in, right? I mean, they did it 5 years ago or 6 years ago. That's true. It's true. So yeah, it'll be interesting all over the place. Well, Chris, thank you so much for hopping on. I think this will be a great precursor for everyone involved. So shout out to all you Avalanche fans out there. Let's keep it clean, man. I can already see some of the toxicity on the X world. I stay away from that stuff. It's not fun.
I try to, but it's so hard.
I just enjoy it. It's a good time of year. It'll be a lot of fun. Well, Chris, be sure to follow Chris on the LOP and Avalanche. Be sure to subscribe to both of our shows. We'll be doing daily shows, of course, during this heated time. And Kyle's an absolute hoot. So I love hopping on with you guys. So maybe we could catch up later in the series if it goes more than maybe 5 games. Maybe we could do a little mid-series update. That'd be fun.
I was gonna say, if it goes to like a 7th. We'll do something before Game 7 we should prep for that. All right, we'll do that.
All righty. Well, be sure to subscribe to our respective shows. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode. Leave your comments. We want to know your series predictions for Stars versus Avs. Let's see how those play out in the comments below. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow or whenever, or maybe on Monday. It depends on the next episode, but we'll see you at some point on our respective channel. Bye, everybody.
Enjoy.